His car number is 19. His name is Trent Stephens. He joins us now on the Zoom line. What's going on? Trent, how are you, bud? Congratulations on the big win.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me, and enjoy talking to you.
Incredible last night. That's the way everybody wants to start their season out, and you definitely had a missile under you throughout the course of the night. Lots of challengers, but no one was going to top you, Trent.
Yeah, I mean, the team, after last year, we kind of went through the car, put a bunch of new parts on it, changed some stuff, and we had glimpses of some speed last year, but we didn't have a consistent season. So we wanted to kind of come into this year and run good from the start and see what we could do. And yeah, we unloaded even in the first practice session. I could tell it had some speed. It felt good. I think we were second or third quick in the first practice session. So I was like, okay, we're close. And then we just started working on the car because everybody could tell from the first session that it was going to be tough to pass. So we immediately started trying to figure out how to get the car to turn better, to be able to race, not just go full out, full as fast as we could. We needed to be able to try to pass cars. So that was going to be the tough thing.
Well, Flamboro Speedway is iconic. The Supermodifieds used to run here a lot back in the day. And then, for a long time, they weren't around. You guys need a racetrack where you can really stretch your legs. I think back to some of my younger days, and I used to watch the Supermodifieds at Volusia County when the half mile was paved. And that's the way I always kicked the year off, watching the Supers at Volusia. And seeing you guys on a tighter track, it's going to be a real challenge when you got so much horsepower and so much maneuverability, but really not enough space where you can, get out there and go 2 and 3 wide.
For sure. I think Supers are, from a fan's perspective, and I mean even a driver's perspective, when you get a half mile or bigger, the cars are just unbelievable, right? We have so much downforce, so much power. But the one downside that I personally, as I'm getting older, it's kind of like, well, the racing now, everyone's gotten really fast cars. We've all got really good wings. At those big, really fast tracks, it becomes very dependent on your car, right? If you have a good car, you're going to do well. What I like about these little tracks that we still go to every once in a while is it puts a lot back into our hands, right? You can spin the tires off the thing. You can out-brake yourself. You can, miss the corner pretty easily. So it makes these smaller tracks tougher, and I guess I think a little more rewarding when you do well at them.
We're with Trent Stephens. He went to Victory Lane just last night at Flamboro Speedway. Got their season kicked off. Got Trent's season kicked off. Safe to say then, Trent, you're going to be looking for a championship. You're going to do all the races, and you're going to go for a title.
That's we'll see, right? These first 3 races will probably tell us how that's going to go with Flamboro, then Oswego, then back to Delaware. But all 3 of those, or these next 2 tracks, are typically good tracks for us as a team. So I mean, it could look good after 3 races, or something could happen, and our season's kind of, I would say, on the shorter side. So you have one bad race, it's hard to get back from that.
Yeah, there is no mulligans in super modified racing. I can guarantee that. You've had good success on this side of the border. You're the last winner at Delaware Speedway, so you must love coming to Canada.
Yeah, we were kind of joking around. We need to start every year in Canada because it's been good for us the last 2 years. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, and the half mile, right? And Delaware Speedway, another iconic place. What's it like, difference-wise? Like Flamboro Speedway is a really good late model track, but they're a smaller car than what you guys are wheeling around there. What is it like going from the half mile down to the tighter track? Is there much adjustability that you need to change? You definitely have to lift, there's no question. What wouldn't matter what track you guys are at, you'd have to lift.
Right. I don't know. I think our car, we have a pretty close base setup, right? We'll tweak it here and there, but we usually start in the same spot, and then in the first practice, especially at new tracks, right? So like Flamboro is a new track for us. So that first session, we came off, and I thought the balance was close, and we made some small adjustments through the day, but we didn't change a lot. The biggest thing is getting the gear right, and making sure you have the drive to, not spin the tires off those tight corners.
And there is only one gear, right? There's only one gear in a super modified. You put your gear to it, but you're not changing gears in the race, or are you?
Correct. Right. Yeah. It's similar to a sprint car, right? We have a quick change rear end, and we're in or out. There's nothing. So the drive shaft's connected straight to the rear end, very similar to a sprint car.
Yeah, so gear, you got to nail it. When you go out there, you got to select the right gear, and because what you got is what you got.
Yes, right. So we adjust it, for a new track, sometimes we'll err on the side of caution and go a little bit lower, right, just so we don't ruin a practice session by just having too much gear. And then we'll just adjust once we kind of get a good feel for the track. But yeah, the biggest thing that I noticed at Flamboro was that because the turns were so tight, we were hard on the brakes. so the engine finally just got wound up, and we were slamming on the brakes to make the corner. So yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just amazing. And last night, damp enough that we actually got the vapor trail happening. You don't always see it, but you did last night at Flamboro.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know, that especially for a first time back to a track in a long time, it's always fun for the fans to see that. And when I was a younger kid first starting out, the first couple times I saw it in a race, I was like, whoa! But you kind of get used to it after a while.
Yeah, well, you're compressing so much air and everything. As mentioned, you got a ton of downforce. This super modified racing is definitely not the land of crate engines. Tell us a bit about your ticker that's in that missile. How many races do you get out of that big block?
So Jimmy D's out of New York. He builds our engine. He builds a few other engines that we race against. But I would say, I think 2 years ago, we had him build us a brand new engine, and we've been really happy with it. But yeah, as far as we kind of err on the side of caution, and we rebuild it every year. So I don't know how many laps we put on it in a year, maybe 1,200 to 1,500 laps in a year, and we rebuild it. So some engine builders will say you can go 2,000 laps before you build it, but then that kind of puts you in a weird spot because you would have to rebuild it halfway through the next season.
Yeah.
Right? So we just kind of rebuild it every year, but everyone's got a little bit different theory.
Well, and you hope that it makes it through the whole year, right? Like they can't be a cheap engine to put together. How much compression is in one of those?
Oh, I don't know the exact number. I know over the years we've played around. I think we've been as high as like 17 to 1. I don't think that's where we're at right now, but we've played around with that for sure. And
you guys are burning methanol. It's not like you're using any kind of other race fuel. It's methanol that's going through there. You can't get no better than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could put nitro in it. That would help, but we're not allowed to do that. No, it keeps the temperatures cooler and allows us to put more fuel to it. But the downside is fuel mileage isn't great, so we got to carry a lot of fuel, right? I think we started the feature last night with 36 gallons of fuel. So it's a lot of weight, right? Because we qualify with 5 gallons of fuel, and then we put 36 in it to go race. So it's a big change, and we got to make sure we adjust for that.
Yeah, how many laps would you get out of a tank? I guess it depends on the track, too. Like a full tank of fuel, you can't be looking at much more than 75 lap races. or you got to put a fuel stop in there.
Yeah, so the way ISMA does it is we plan to fuel for a total amount of laps with the race and caution, right? So last night we were told to fuel for 150 laps. So that accounted for the 75 green, and it also gave us 75 caution laps if we would need it. So if we would have hit that 150 total, we would have had to stop to refuel. And we all try to make sure we're kind of on that limit, right? Because every gallon's weight, so we try to run as little as we can.
Yeah, try and lighten it up, but you don't want to ruin your day and just come up a little bit short. I guess it's like Mike Hall says out on the West Coast, it's smiles per gallon, not miles per gallon, smiles per gallon. You had a load of them last night.
Yeah, we had an awesome race car in that race. We made the right adjustments for the feature. We weren't sure, first time we've been there, obviously, and then so sometimes it's a guessing game as far as what's going to happen when that temperature drops and that humidity kind of gets in the air, what the track's going to do. There's certain tracks where the track changes a lot. And luckily, I think we guessed right, and we were pretty good from the start. So I was pretty happy with our adjustments for that feature.
Trent, how about crew guys? Everybody that you've got on the team, do you got new guys this year? Did you add anybody new? Or is it the same bunch that you've been running with for a while?
No real new guys. It's been the same bunch. Gosh, I mean, I've been racing for Steve since 2009. So what is that, 16, 17 years? It's been a while. No, we've pretty much had the same crew this entire time. We don't have the crew that travels with us as much anymore, right? Everyone's getting a little older, and not everyone likes traveling, but we still kind of have the same crew back at the shop, right? We got Lee, Rory, Steve, Steve Calhoun, and Steve Stout. So, and then Steve's sons have been helping out a lot. And then my dad will come and help when we're at the tracks and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's kind of a small crew, but they've been together a long time, and they know how to put a car together.
Yeah, absolutely. Good chemistry, and that's what you need to have the success. How about sponsorship? How many sponsors? Who you got on your car?
Gosh. So our main sponsors, Ken Ganley, Buick GMC, they have dealerships all over Ohio. So that's our main sponsor. We've got a couple other ones, S&S Cleaning, Schaefer's Racing Oil, DMI Rear Ends, and I'm drawing a blank on, there's one other that we picked up last year, and I'm going to kick myself for forgetting this one. But yeah, how about this? I'll say, post a picture for me, and it'll be on the right side of the car.
There you go. And you know what? There's going to be, those sponsors are going to be mighty happy because there's going to be photos of the 19 car every which way but loose for a long time. I can guarantee it, because you made some history there last night.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think it's still setting in kind of what happened. I've been on the road all day today, so it's my drive homes are usually kind of like the wow, we hit it last night, and it's kind of a big deal. Winning the race was awesome. I would say probably the only downside to the night is we missed out on that new track record by 0.02 of a second. So. We were close, Foma, but I think I'd take winning the race over the track record right now.
I would think so. A 13.3, though. You were still in the threes. That's an insane lap time. It really is. Yeah,
we practiced on last year's tires, so we didn't know exactly what kind of speed we had from a one-lap pace, and we threw what we thought would work at it, and that second lap, the tires finally started coming in. I think our tire temps, it takes our tires probably 8-10 laps to get up to temperature there. So in 4 laps, it was kind of hairy, and I was just trying to, every corner that the car was changing because there's more grip and more grip and more grip. So it was close. It's a bummer that we missed out on it, but still good weekend overall.
Trent, with a late model, you get equal tire temperatures, or at least that's the goal, is to have equal tire temperatures all the way around the car. Is it the same with a Super? Do you get equal temperatures all the way around, I guess, when you nail it?
Yeah, when you nail it, for sure, right? The left rear, right rear, and right front are all very, very close. The left front is typically a little bit cooler, but when the car is really good, the left front's only maybe 10 to 15 degrees cooler. So typically, though, if you're missing it, your right front or your right rear it shows that temperature, right? And obviously, the faster the track, we build a lot more temperature. Like sometimes at Oswego, if you beat up on a tire at Oswego, you're 250 degrees, Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what that converts to Celsius, but yeah, it gets pretty toasty at those bigger tracks when you're really working a car hard, and we got to be careful of that, because if you run a tire at 250 for too long, it's not going to last. So.
No, it'll come right off, right? Like you could melt the bead pretty quick in one of those, I would think.
Yes, yeah, I wouldn't say it's super common, but we do blister tires. Oswego, we blister tires. Trying to think. Jennerstown's questionable. I know Jacasa, when we ran there 4, 5, 6 years ago, they actually put a different tire on us because they were so nervous about temperature, and we still actually, that was the only time I've ever seen us blister all 3 tires. So our left rear, right front, and right rear all blistered, which was pretty crazy.
Oh, so, it would have been. Yeah. Back in the day,
we got all kinds of tire stories.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it, and it's indicative of the actual car too, with the horsepower of the wing. When you go to make an adjustment, like take last night, for instance, you're going to make some adjustments to, help you come through the turn or entry or whatever. Are you doing those adjustments more so with your wings than you are with a wrench, or is it a combination of both?
It's definitely a combination of both. We talk about that quite a bit. When I come off the track, we discuss whether we think it's an aero balance issue or if it's a chassis issue. And sometimes they're hard to tell what is what, right? Because the aero plays a bigger factor at different points in the corner than the chassis does. So we have to make sure we're staying on top of that. Aero, I would say, plays the biggest point on entry, because that's when we're at our fastest, so we have the most downforce at that point. But it surprisingly, the aero plays, it's the whole corner, right? So yeah, we adjusted both before that feature. We played with our aero balance, and we also adjusted the rear end to try to help rotate the car. And I think we hit it for sure.
I'd say you nailed it right on the button. And it's got to be different too, right? When you're out by yourself, like you were last night, leading the race, as opposed to, being in the traffic and being around other cars. Dirty air would be huge. Dirty air in a super modified with that wing and everything that's going on. Man, it can really create some turbulence and throw you right off your game, especially add in wind gusts and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how you guys figure all that out.
Yes, that is very true. I think last night at Flamboro, maybe the car was just very, very good. I didn't feel that the dirty air like I normally do. And I don't know if that was a tone to the track or just we had the car working really, really good. But yeah, there's certain tracks where we can't get within 2 car lengths of somebody, and you're losing all the grip in the car, which is unfortunate. But I think that's just the way that everyone's gone, right? So when I first started, everyone had wings, but we all kind of just had some wings that we thought worked, and over the years, everyone's learned, and everyone has upped their aero program, right? And it makes us faster, but it also makes the racing a little tougher. And it's just something you have to account for, right? if your car's good and you just what you got to do to try to deal with that dirty air. And there's definitely times if we start further back in the race, we'll put a different setup in the car because we know we're going to be in dirty air the whole time. So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's always something.
It'd make a difference, that's for sure. A couple final questions for you, because I know, and we really appreciate your time, Trent. We honestly do. I'm a big fan of watching the open wheel showdown that happens in Vegas in the fall. It comes up. I've watched it now 2 years, and Davey Hamilton puts it all on, I guess, out there. See the Supermodifieds, the West Coast Supermodifieds compared to the East Coast Supermodifieds. Are they the same car? And do you anticipate having a good season? Maybe you'll take a shot out to Vegas and give that a try.
Oof. As far as giving that a try, that's a trip.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, right? So getting the car out there, I mean, I think it's like a 30-hour drive, just for the trailer. So that's I would say that's our biggest hurdle. I'm kind of, the other thing is just time off, right? We all work our normal job during the day, and with our racing schedule, my kids are racing now, so we've booked up all my vacation days already to go racing. So I'm not sure. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to say absolutely not, but I don't think it's on the cards right now. But yeah, as far as the East Coast versus West Coast cars, the biggest difference that everyone notices, there's probably two big differences. All the West Coast guys have small blocks, and so it's where we have the big block Chevys. They all have small blocks, so that's the biggest difference. So we have a little bit more torque. I think they typically can probably get a little more horsepower, and they're allowed to run aluminum, which is a huge weight advantage.
Oh yeah.
And then the second biggest thing is a lot of those guys out there have a fixed wing, right, where they set their wing and it just kind of it stays, where we have all of our wings on the air strut. There's nothing in our rules that say we can't fix our wing, but just everyone's always run that air strut to reduce the drag down the straightaways. So those are probably the two biggest differences. I think those guys, their weight rules are a little bit less, but again, hard to say what's better, right? I would say the East Coast guys have been consistently staying up on technology, right? We've been building new cars every 5-6 years, where the West Coast guys, they had a lull, right? They had a lot of competitive cars probably 15 years ago, and then the West Coast kind of died down, and now they're trying to build back up. So I think there's just a difference in the history of the East Coast cars versus the West Coast cars, right? So,
yeah. Well, it'd be a little bit different. We have James White on from BC. He goes into Phoenix. He goes into different racetracks out on the West Coast. He's a super modified guy too, and he literally just built a new one, and has been performing really good for him. Where do your chassis come from? Are you guys, do you build them yourself, or is there like in the late model world, we got, Port City, and we got McCall's, and we've got all those different builders. What's it like in super modified? Where do you get a chassis?
So there's a couple guys that build cars. Hawk is one, Allegresso in New England. Outside of that, Muldoon in Oswego as well. But outside of that, most everyone has built their own car. So Steve, he's built, this is the third car I've driven for him. So he's built 3 cars, 4 cars. He had another car as well for a teammate back in the early 2000s or late 2000s, 2010s, whatever. And so Steve's built all his own stuff, right? So Steve builds the chassis, the bodies, the wings. Steve does all that himself. So that's always rewarding when we can build it ourselves and compete.
Yeah, and go out and actually win races and beat someone else that's done the same thing. Incredible. Delaware Speedway is the next time we're all going to get an opportunity to see the ISMA Supermodifieds once again. That comes up in June. You'll be the first guy across the border, I can well imagine, having a win there and coming off the Flamboro win. You got one race before then, and then up here you guys come. It's going to be amazing. Anybody that was at Flamboro Speedway last night, I can almost guarantee you they're going to be at Delaware when you guys come back up, because that was quite a show last night.
That's good. That's what we want. I know every time we come up to Delaware and now Flamboro, we always, I know the crowd enjoys us. So it's good to start trying to build a little bit of that fan base back up in Canada. I know it's always been there, but if we can keep adding to it, that's always good for the sport.
You watch out, Mark Samet. That's his backyard, so he's really going to be out there gunning with you guys. Trent, can't tell you how much we appreciate the time. We genuinely do, and congratulations on the win. Look forward to catching up with you at Delaware. I'm going to be at that one. At least I hope to be.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe.
You bet.
Hopefully we'll see you there.
You bet. That is Trent Stephens, victory lane last night in the ISMA season opener.